handcuffed, betrayed, left to die. But when justice falls from the sky, it doesn't need a parachute. Sirens cut through the storm like knives through glass. The rotors screamed above the city, and what began as an arrest turned into an execution. They thought they were throwing away a problem, a handcuffed woman no one would miss. But what fell from that sky wasn't a corpse. It was the spark that would ignite a war for justice, because some people don't need parachutes to rise. They just need a reason. Rain pounded the steel belly of the police helicopter as it clawed through the storm clouds above the city. Inside, the light strobed red and white, painting faces and flashes of guilt and shadow. Sergeant Naomi Carter, former Army combat pilot turned tactical officer, sat bound and soaked, wrists cuffed behind her, her uniform ripped from the struggle. Her boots were still muddy from the raid, the one they claimed she'd gone rogue on. Across from her sat Captain Rourke, her commanding officer, his jaw tight, his eyes avoiding hers. The others, 3 cops she'd once trained, once trusted, stayed silent. "This isn't how it was supposed to go," one of them muttered. Naomi's voice was calm, too calm for someone minutes from death. "No," she said, "but corruption never goes how you plan it." Rourke's gaze flicked toward her, sharp and cold. "You should have stayed quiet, Carter. You weren't supposed to find out." "I wasn't supposed to find out that our own task force was selling raid intel to gang leaders," she said, "that the same people wearing badges were pocketing blood money?" The words hit him like gunfire. The others shifted in their seats, guilt pooling between them. The helicopter rocked as lightning tore across the sky. Rourke stood, steadying himself against the wall. "You think the department's gonna believe a suspended sergeant over command?" he asked. "I don't need them to believe me," Naomi said, eyes locked on his. "I just need the truth to survive." Rourke's lips curled into something that wasn't quite a smile. "Then I guess you won't." The latch clanked, the side door slammed open, the sky howled in, a flood of rain and roaring wind. The city below flashed between darkness and lightning, skyscrapers glinting like knives. Naomi looked at the storm, then back at him. "You're making a mistake." He shoved her forward. "No, Carter, I'm erasing one." The last thing she saw was the red light of the cockpit reflected in his eyes before gravity took her. She fell. Rain became bullets, the wind screamed in her ears, the cuffs bit into her wrists as she twisted midair. Years of flight training told her how to read the fall, the angle, the speed, the terrain below. Her lungs burned, her body spinning like debris torn from a machine. The ocean was rising to meet her, a black, endless sheet of death. She tucked her knees, rolled her shoulder, and hit the water hard enough to see stars explode behind her eyes. The world shattered into cold and silence. For a moment, she thought she was gone. Then, instinct took over. Her body moved before her mind caught up, legs kicking, lungs fighting, head breaking the surface. She gasped, coughing salt and blood. The helicopter was already vanishing into the storm. They thought they'd killed her. They hadn't. They'd awakened something. Hours later, dawn broke over the harbor. Naomi washed up against the concrete edge of an industrial pier, her body battered but alive. She crawled onto the slick surface, the cuffs still biting into her wrists. A stray dock worker found her half-conscious and dragged her into a boathouse. He offered to call the cops, but she stopped him with a single look. "No cops," she rasped. He hesitated, then handed her a pair of bolt cutters. It took everything she had to snap the chain. The cuffs fell to the ground, clattering like a promise broken and remade. By nightfall, she'd scavenged a change of clothes, stitched her wounds, and hijacked an old marine radio. Static filled the air until a voice crackled through. An old friend. "Naomi! Jesus, where have you been? They said you—" "Don't say it," she cut in. "I need a favor." 2 nights later, she walked out of a warehouse in the city's South District, dressed in black, her badge gone, her eyes sharp as the edge of vengeance. The rain hadn't stopped since that night. Her first target was Officer Lang, one of the men who'd sat silent in the helicopter. She tracked him to a private security contract, guarding a city developer who funneled dirty money into the department. Naomi waited until Lang stepped out for a smoke behind the construction yard. He didn't even see her coming. "Jesus, Carter!" "I'm still breathing," she said, pressing him against the wall. "Can't say the same for your conscience." He stammered. "Rourke said you—" Rourke lied, like always. Lang's eyes darted, his voice trembling. "You don't understand. They had orders from higher up. Internal Affairs was about to—" Naomi's hand tightened on his vest. "Then start talking." By the time he finished, she had names, dates, transfer codes, enough to expose the rot. She left him alive, barely. "You tell Rourke that gravity didn't finish the job. I did." Rourke was 3 steps ahead. By the time Naomi hit the city, his men were already hunting her. Every alley had eyes. Every news station had her photo. "Armed and dangerous," they said. "Fugitive ex-officer." She moved through the city like a ghost, sleeping in abandoned train stations, hacking into police databases from stolen phones. Each day brought her closer to the center of the web, to Rourke himself. But vengeance alone wasn't enough. She needed proof, the kind that couldn't be silenced. She broke into the department's secured evidence vault one night, slipping past surveillance using codes only a pilot could time right. There she found it, the original body cam footage from the raid. It showed everything. The deal between Rourke's unit and a cartel front, the exchange, the fake firefight, the murder blamed on her. She copied the footage, uploaded it to a hidden drive, and whispered, "You can't bury the sky." The alarm triggered before she reached the exit. Floodlights ignited and sirens screamed through the corridors. She turned, sprinting for the rooftop. A helicopter waited above, the same model they'd thrown her from. Rourke was there, headset on, smirk sharp as ever. "You never should have come back, Carter." "I didn't come back," she said, loading the stolen Glock. "I came to finish what you started." The chase tore across the skyline. Naomi leapt between rooftops slick with rain as the helicopter hovered overhead, its rotors slashing through fog and fury. Bullets shattered glass around her. She dove behind a vent, fired 2 rounds, one grazing the tail fin. The helicopter tilted, fighting for balance. Rourke's voice crackled through the loudspeaker. "You're a dead woman, Carter." Naomi stood, rain washing blood from her face. "You threw me from the sky, Rourke. Now watch me fly." She sprinted toward the edge, firing as she ran. The final bullet hit the fuel line. The helicopter lurched, smoke curling from its side. Rourke tried to steady it, but Naomi had already jumped, catching the landing rail mid-air, her body slamming against the metal. The storm screamed around her. He looked down in disbelief. "You should have stayed down!" She climbed up, using pure muscle and rage. The cabin door flew open, Rourke swung at her, but she blocked, twisted, disarmed, and sent the gun tumbling into the dark. The two fought in the open doorway, the city spinning below them, lightning framing every blow. "You betrayed everything we swore to protect," she shouted. Rourke grinned, bleeding. "You can't protect what's already owned." She drove her elbow into his chest, sending him stumbling backwards. He reached for the control stick, she grabbed his wrist, and in that single breathless instant, their eyes met, mirrors of the same storm. "Gravity doesn't scare me anymore," she whispered. Then she kicked him out of the helicopter.
Rourke fell into the night, swallowed by the storm he'd created. Naomi steadied the chopper, guiding it through the rain with the muscle memory of a pilot who had refused to die. She was bleeding, exhausted, half-blind, but alive. She opened the comms channel and broadcast the footage from the stolen drive to every major news outlet, syncing it through the helicopter's onboard transmitter. Captain Naomi Carter, former tactical pilot, evidence attached, truth incoming. Screens across the city flickered, body cam footage, confessions, names, corruption unveiled in real time. Sirens wailed below, but this time they weren't hunting her. They were coming for the men she'd exposed. The helicopter's fuel warning light blinked. Naomi smiled through the pain. "Guess I'm out of altitude again,"